Newfoundland Lemon video blog. I'm Terry Parsons, joined with Rob Lutes. Rob, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure, pleasure.
And we're celebrating the release of his latest album, Walk in the Dark, and we're going to be featuring some videos from his live performance. We're going to be talking to Rob about the album. Rob's latest album is Walk in the Dark. It's available at his website, roblutes.com. So Rob, tell us a bit about the title track, A Walk in the Dark. First of all, what inspired the song and why did it end up as the title track on this album?
That song was one that I had for a little while, and it was kind of inspired by this idea of, I grew up in a small town in New Brunswick, about leaving parties at night, and when you'd be in this kind of very intense environment and you'd leave and you'd walk home, and I had about a 2 or 3 mile walk oftentimes, and in the dark, and it was a very calm kind of period, and I kind of had this sort of vision in my head when the song came to me that this was where we kind of sort out what's going on in our lives. So I worked on the song for a long time, and it was coming about a week before we were going to record it, and I was almost finished, but I was working those lyrics really hard because I knew that there was something to get there, and eventually my wife, Monique Riddell, who's written a few songs with me, helped me finish it. So she's a co-writer of the lyrics, and yeah, it was the title track because I feel like this album, more than any other one, was where we kind of went into the studio not knowing what we were going to get. And we really went in blind, and I think we got something pretty special, so I named the record for that.
Come out with me where the old dogs bone. What's that?
The second track in this album is a song that's had two very distinct lives, because you sent me a copy of it when it was called James Cotton, shortly after James passed away. And on the album, it's called There's No Way to Tell You That Tonight, and it's been remixed, and you've added an extra player in Guy Belanger.
That song was originally called James Cotton, and what happened was I had it as James Cotton, and you're not allowed to name songs after famous people anymore, because iTunes has set a rule about that, and I guess it's to prevent cynical marketing where I would just name a song after someone extremely famous and hope people listen to it. So I had to change it, and I had already had this kind of alternate title, which was There's No Way to Tell You That Tonight. James Cotton was the show that I saw that inspired the tune, but There's No Way to Tell You That Tonight was the sort of story behind the song, and this was like I was in a bit of an emotional crisis, and I happened to be in London, Ontario, and went and saw James Cotton, and that show, in the way that the blues can, was like a healing experience, where I basically put myself in the hands of James Cotton and his band, and they kind of transported me, and that's kind of what that song is about. It's kind of about accepting your struggles.
Was it important for you as an artist to be able to pay tribute to James Cotton?
For sure. Well, that song, there was no question, because it came out, like, I think I went and saw him, and it was like 2 days later when that song just popped out, and so I definitely, he was integral to the song, because it was kind of like in my head. I think I must have been almost creating it as I was watching him do his show, because there's elements from his show in it. So yeah, that was a big part of it.
James Cotton stepped on the stage and his band began to play. The shoreline slipped away that night. Cruising up that coast, I was missing you the most. But the song was very clear, say it's alright. His guitar player smile skipped the stone a million miles. And James Cotton raised his eye to the right. He found the heat out wide. you there tonight. Oh, there's no way to tell you there tonight.
The last cut that we're going to feature tonight is something called I Am the Blues. Can you tell us a bit about that song and what inspired that, and your connection, I guess, to the blues scene, in particular here in Quebec Blues?
I'm the Blues was inspired by a film by a guy named Daniel Cross, a film that was made here in, well, it was made in Louisiana and Mississippi by this Montreal filmmaker, and I saw it and I was just so incredibly moved by this film that I wanted to help Daniel get it out to the blues community. So I kind of helped him share it around. It won 2 Canadian Screen Awards, Best Documentary, Best Cinematography. And the thing about this movie was it's a lot of artists in their 70s, 80s, and 90s, older blues artists. Some big, like Bobby Rush is in it, and then some lesser known, like Lazy Lester. And so this was kind of the way that they viewed the blues, as kind of a friend, and that's kind of what that song is about. It's kind of like the blues is kind of gonna step in when you need somebody or something to help you, and it's also something, kind of celebrates the blues. We have a really active blues scene in Montreal, and there's a lot of great players, and I just kind of thought it was it just kind of came out as a celebration of this thing that we all kind of share and love.
Should've known better, but you weren't watching carefully. Now your life is tumbling slowly into the sea. Everything is blowing up, and it was you who lit the fuse. That's when I show up. I am the blues. Understand when the morning comes, you're reaching for the blues. That's my warning, son. I am the blues. Yeah. Shining in your mind, I am the whisper of the truth underneath the wine, and I'll stay with you, baby. No, I'm never gonna disappear. When you're poor in pain or trapped by fear, I'll call you home with a little piece of good news. You're not alone, no, I am the blues. You're not alone, no, I am the blues.
Well, Rob, Walk in the Dark is a great album. I really enjoyed it. If anybody would like to order a copy, go to www.roblutes.com. Get yourself a copy today. Rob, thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure, Terry. Thanks a lot.
Take it nice, take it slow, take it just like an evening stroll. Don't